Pantheon AI presents Broadcom equals next NVIDIA? Market falls 1% as Fed jobs illusion exposed. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PAI morning briefing for September 5th, 2025. I'm John.
And I'm Sarah. I hope you've got your coffee ready, John, because it looks like we have a lot to unpack today.
We certainly do. Let's dive right into the market overview. Things are looking a bit cautious this morning in the U.S. The S&P 500 is hovering around 6,465, down almost 1%. The Dow is also slipping, down about 0.7% to 45,334.
And the tech-heavy Nasdaq isn't immune either, right? It's also seeing a dip.
Exactly. The Nasdaq is sitting at 21,631, which is a drop of about 1%. Even the Russell 2000 is down slightly. It really feels like the market's current theme song is one of caution.
That's a good way to put it. Interestingly, the crypto space seems to be holding its breath. Bitcoin is pretty steady near 110,735. A little calm in the storm, maybe?
It seems that way. So the big question is, what's behind all this? It feels like a balancing act between caution and spotting new opportunities. And speaking of opportunities, the narrative is still overwhelmingly dominated by tech and AI.
Absolutely. And one name that keeps popping up is Broadcom. I've seen multiple reports suggesting it's starting to look a lot like the next NVIDIA. What's your take on that?
It's a fascinating comparison. Analysts are getting really bullish, whispering that Broadcom's AI revenue could actually double next year. They just added a fourth major customer for their custom chips, which is a huge vote of confidence.
Right. But it's not just about tech, is it? The labor market is throwing us some curveballs. I mean, it wasn't long ago that Fed Chair Jerome Powell was calling the jobs market solid.
That's the friction point. He said that at the end of July, painting a very stable picture. But now, just a few weeks later, some cracks are starting to show. The latest weak jobs report for August seems to contradict that earlier optimism.
It makes you wonder if that solid market was a bit of an illusion, maybe masking some underlying issues. And you know who had a strong opinion on that weak jobs report? Jim Cramer.
Of course. Never want to be quiet in a shifting market. What's his latest call?
Well, with that weak report sending the 10-year Treasury yield to its lowest point since April, Cramer immediately pointed to a specific stock as a must-buy. It's definitely creating a buzz, but it also feels like a classic contrarian signal in a pretty uncertain landscape.
It's a bold move. And that brings us to another interesting point, the S&P 500 itself. The index is climbing this wall of worry, but one of its biggest stars, NVIDIA, is suddenly under the microscope.
That's such a strange dynamic, isn't it? The broader market is inching forward, yet its star player is facing questions about whether its incredible run has peaked for now. It's like watching a record-breaking athlete try to replicate their best season. The pressure is immense.
A perfect analogy. So let's break this down by sector, starting with tech. The AI race is clearly the main event. As we mentioned, Broadcom's potential to double its AI revenue is a huge story. It shows that competitive advantage might be shifting to companies that can lock in those key partnerships early.
But that comes with the risk of overvaluation, right? The initial hype can sometimes get ahead of reality. Now, shifting gears to energy, it's a totally different kind of story, with its own set of pressures.
Right. Geopolitics and volatile oil prices are making traditional energy stocks a tricky play. Investors seem to be looking for refuge.
Exactly. And that's where renewables come in. It's almost a funny choice for investors, like deciding between a classic vintage car and a brand new electric one. One has the history and tradition. The other has the promise of innovation and a greener future. It's a tough balance.
I like that. And in finance, the story is all about those sliding Treasury yields. When the 10-year yield drops like it did, it's basically investors saying, I'd rather play it safe and sleep at night than risk a wild ride. It's a clear flight to safety.
And all of this has global ripples. The chatter in Europe and Asia shows they're just as focused on our labor market data as we are. A policy shift in one region can instantly change the mood everywhere else. No market is an island anymore.
So when we pull all this together, what are the experts predicting? The prevailing view seems to be a period of cautious recalibration. The market might be consolidating after that big run-up, so we shouldn't expect any dramatic surges.
But there's another take, especially from the tech watchers. They'd argue that even if giants like NVIDIA are hitting a plateau, the next wave of innovation is already building. I mean, if Broadcom can really double its AI revenue, that's a huge opportunity. It reinforces that old mantra, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Or as a friend of mine once joked, investing is like making an omelet. You need the right mix, or you just end up with scrambled strategies.
Laughs, I love that. It's so true, though. Smart diversification is everything. So to wrap things up, what are the key takeaways for our listeners today?
Okay, summary time. First, U.S. markets are showing modest declines, signaling caution. Second, tech is the hot topic, with the Broadcom versus NVIDIA narrative highlighting the race for AI dominance. Third, the labor market picture is more complicated than it first appeared. And finally, all of this is interconnected globally, which makes diversification crucial.
A perfect summary. And it leaves us with some big questions to ponder. In a world where even solid data can shift overnight, how do you balance that optimism for innovation with a healthy dose of caution?
That's the core challenge. It's our job as investors to sift through the noise and position ourselves for the long haul. A special thanks to Pantheon AI, our information co-pilot, for helping us connect these dots.
Thanks for joining us this morning. We hope this sparked some ideas for your day ahead. Remember to stay curious and keep questioning.
We'll be back tomorrow with fresh insights. Until then, have a great day and happy investing.
Pantheon AI, your information co-pilot.
Because learning shouldn't feel like a full-time job. Take care and see you next time.